I was one of the few extraordinarily lucky people to go check out the Nintendo Switch 2 experience up at the XL Center in London. And I got my hands on time with it. I got to play a couple of games. I met some awesome people. And it kind of left me with some takeaways about what the Switch 2 is and who the Switch 2 is going to be for. And I really like what Nintendo were doing here. Some people might feel a little bit upset by it, right? Like they feel that the Switch 2 might not be something new, or it's not innovative enough, or it's too similar to the original Switch. Like, what's the point in those upgrades? Although people have been asking for those upgrades for a very long time. But why slap a 2 on the end of this? Those are really good questions. But I think philosophically, it's interesting where this console is going. We weren't allowed to film any close-ups specifically of the product, so what I've got for you to see is as close as I could get. Unfortunately, until we get like a proper hands-on, and that's coming up really soon. The official word is June 5th, so that's around the corner. Using it is something else. It's a really sturdy device. It's hard to explain this, but if you ever felt like the original Switch was a bit toy-like, a little bit hollow, maybe feels a little light for its size, then you're really going to like this build of the Switch 2. So it's a lot thinner. Well, actually, it's a lot, it's technically exactly the same size and weight, but it just feels a lot more sturdy. And one of the ways they've done that, obviously the Joy-Con's a little bit sleeker. They've got magnets in now, so they actually click in. In fact, it's so much fun. I was actually just like pulling it in and out and just clicking it. So that's something I need to stop doing. They made it too fun to use. I think that's a good critique. Don't fidget with it. It's also got an LCD panel. Now, I know a lot of people are complaining that it should be OLED. I don't think that's necessary. It looks amazing, this LCD panel. I've got a lot of opinions on OCD panel. I love to draw, right, on tablets. And Brad Colbo, one of my favorite YouTubers, by the way, please go check out his channel, has done a video about this specifically, is that there are different kinds of LCD. Just because you might have had a bad quality LCD doesn't mean that every LCD is of that quality. And Nintendo put in an amazing panel in here. It's got HDR, it's got 1080p, 120 FPS, variable refresh rate, by the way, which feels amazing. It does feel like you're picking up like a next generation console in your hand, which is awesome. It's something I've always wanted from the Switch, and I think that's where my biggest gripe with the Switch came in, was that when it was released, there were all these other consoles with much higher resolutions and better graphics and much higher frame rate. Frame rate is a big deal for me as somebody who plays a lot of PC games. I see it, like I feel it. It made a huge difference to games like Mario Kart. It really took Mario Kart to another level when I was playing it. I was like, this is a modern generation game. This isn't like an old port from a previous console. It feels great. Speaking about HDR, 1080p, 120 FPS, you can plug it into your TV as well, so you can get 4K 60 on your TV, up to 4K 60, which is great, and also 1080p, I assume 120 FPS if you've got a screen that supports that, which is cool. So you get really great graphics. They showcased Cyberpunk, which looks amazing, just to show you how powerful it is, and also so you can get that amazing, that amazing resolution on a console once it's docked. They really checked those boxes, I think, because people were nagging them for so long. They really made it a console that could be like, that could address a hardcore gamer's needs. Really think that games like Fortnite are really going to pop off here, because a lot of people play Fortnite on their Switch. To play it at 1080p, 120 FPS is going to be a competitive advantage, because it's a competitive shooter, but also it's just going to look really, really cool. They've added that whole game chat. There's a C button on the Joy-Con. You touch that, you click on it, press it. What do you do with the button? You press a button. Once you've done that, it's going to open up a mode, which is like a social mode. Kind of brings like Discord into the gaming experience instantly, which is nice. People are saying it's like Discord. I think it's a little bit better in the sense that it's built in, it's integrated. Everybody that's got a camera should be able to use it, and there's a built-in microphone on the console. I don't know what the audio quality of it is, because it's on the console, so if you dock it, the microphone's across the room, so I don't know what that's going to sound like, but the promise is there that you can play socially immediately with just that chat button. Once you press it, there's going to be a bunch of pop-ups at the bottom, and you can see what your other friends are doing and how they are playing the game. It will kind of cut them out like you're playing on Twitch or YouTube, whatever the case is, and bring them into the lounge. That's kind of the promise. Nintendo are doing that really, really well. The Joy-Cons can also turn on their sides to be like a mouse. So they showed this like game. It looks like a wheelchair game where you roll it on your legs, but just showcasing different ways of playing it. Civ can be used with a mouse, which is very cool. It's very responsive. Maybe you don't want to play with it for long periods of time because it is a Joy-Con on its side, but they are thinking of ways to make the whole experience of using a Switch as varied as possible. The game chat camera doesn't come with the console as far as I know. I'm sure there are going to be bundles with it. But that obviously works with games like Jamboree, and it brings like a Kinect-like experience, if you guys remember Xbox Kinect, into the lounge so that people can play without a controller necessarily. Or we used the Joy-Con controllers to play Jamboree, which was awesome. It just opens up the world of party games and games for people that don't necessarily play very frequently into your lounge. There were a wide variety of games that were on display. The first game we got to play was Mario Kart. There was a big knockout round that they had, loads of fun. They had Hades 2, very excited about that. Split Fiction, perfect cons to play Split Fiction on. After I digested it, because this was last week and I've had some time to think about it, the Switch 2 is not just another Switch. The Switch had a very specific target audience. Most of those people were people coming from Wii. They didn't care about the hardcore gamer. They didn't want to touch what PlayStation and Xbox were doing. But this is the first time that a console that Nintendo have released, in my opinion, is tackling a wider demographic of gamers, which actually means us who play hardcore games. I say that because of the mouse, inclusion with the Joy-Cons. I say that because of the higher frame rates. People care about that are us, the gamers. When you put this in a press release and you tell somebody who's got a Switch that there's a higher frame rate, they go like, well, who cares? When we say that there's HDR and 4K 60, most customers don't care. That's just a matter of fact. And this is the first time I feel like we're being catered to by Nintendo if you are a more core gamer. Cyberpunk, what they're doing with Cyberpunk is just, again, it's super loud. Games like Hades 2, having it on the floor there shows that that's also more a core gaming demographic, people that are into roguelike experiences. So we have had our ears perked, right? This is a console that can scratch an itch that a lot of the other, PlayStations and the Xboxes are scratching, or even a PC. But here's the kicker. If you ever missed a Kinect experience or a Wii U experience, they have included that as well. So this console will live in your lounge as a primary gaming device with the Pro Controller. Awesome. Ticks that box. Pro Controller feels amazing, by the way. All the hardware, they're really popped off. You can have that big AAA experience, 4K 60, 1080p, like 120. But then when you want to, you can also undock it, take it away, get 1080p, like 120, and play core games, like on the road. Cyberpunk, on the road, amazing. It's nearly Steam Deck-like, right? It's not something you'd expect. It's something I think the PlayStation Portal people wanted the PlayStation Portal to fit. And now we've got something that can do that. I haven't checked the battery life, obviously, because we'll see what that's like. Then you've still got the party game experience. So you've got the Jamborees, the Mario Karts, a new Wario game would be pretty sick. Mario Party-like stuff would be awesome. And the ability to share games, which is coming soon, and to some titles, between existing consoles and consoles. So if you've got a Switch or a Switch Lite or another Switch 2 in the house, maybe you've got multiple Switch 2s in the house, if one person's got a copy of the game and they want to invite other people to this game experience, they can, on the same network as far as I know, play with those people. They seem to have included way more online gaming than Nintendo ever has in the past. They seem to have included way more options and ways to play games than any other console actually out there, but especially any other console that Nintendo have brought out, which seems to be the reason they've built this thing. When you walk through that experience, that's what you see. You just see tons of people, different kinds of people with different kinds of gaming experiences, from fighting games to these mouse Joy-Con games to motion party games. to single player experiences like Donkey Kong, which is obviously getting its brand new single player experience, Metroid, Mario Kart as a group activity. I can't wait for a new Smash Bros. That would be amazing. And it highlighted for me something that I think has kind of been missing from gaming. Gaming is on the huge, gaming in the bigger scheme of things has kind of been this free-to-play model where it's, you know, getting people to pay for long periods of time, battle passes, games as a service type thing. But the way we play games essentially hasn't changed, right? We play online and so on. We might have a variety of different ways we want to play games. We might get multiple consoles or multiple gaming experiences for that, or we just give up and we go like, well, I only have money for one console. I'm not going to be able to play everything. The Switch 2 is going to do that. It's going to be able to play, for the most part, the vast majority of things. Xbox are talking about having Xbox titles launch on the Switch 2, which is huge. Imagine if Games Pass comes out on the Switch 2. That is going to change a lot of people's buying decisions. And I think this is going to be an extremely popular console because of it. I'm very impressed with the Switch 2. And the more I've thought about it and the more I've realized that in my life stage, games are, I play social games with my friends as often as I can. It's like the digital board game. I have a daughter, I want to play games with her, but also when she's in bed, I also want to have really cool, like single player experiences that the original Switch can't facilitate, unfortunately, because I'm used to higher refresh rates and I'm used to bigger games. And the Switch 2 seems to tick all those boxes. I've yet to play like on my own network with it. I want to see Wi-Fi 6 compatibility, what the speeds are with that. You know, there's a lot of things that we need to do before I can fully recommend it. But philosophically, I like what they're doing. I still need to get hands-on and have a proper review of it in different circumstances, see what the battery life is like, etc. But I like what they're doing, and I'm really impressed with this. And it's piqued my interest, and it's kind of taking games back to why I play games. There was a moment at an event where I actually like shed a tear because I was like, I miss this in a way, and it's a cool life stage for me to get into something like this because I get to play a lot of my games and then also use the same console to introduce games to my daughter, which, yeah, you can't put a price on that. Stay tuned for a full review. What do you think? What were your favorite games that were announced? And yeah, I'm excited to see what people's opinions of the Switch 2 are. And I'm very grateful for Nintendo for flying me up to go check it out. I was one of very few people to get hands-on, and that really meant a lot. And I was kind of surprised why they would send me, but now I see. I see now. When I digested, I was like, oh. I haven't been excited for a gaming experience like this in a very, very long time. I'll see you in another video. Cheers.